up guys? Welcome back to the channel, Nuttyfoodiefitness here. Welcome to the video. What I really want to just tell you, this coin is the qualifier coin for the 2024 VinFast Ironman World Championships in Nice for September 22nd, 2024. I have finally decided that I'm gonna do it. And it doesn't even feel real me saying this. It's taken me so long to get to this decision. Since I qualified, I've had countless messages from you all saying that you'll all support me in whatever decision I make, whether I decide to do it, whether I decide to not. But the majority of you have told me that if you were in my shoes, you would do it. If the roles were reversed and I was watching somebody else and they had this decision to make, I'd think it'd be so easy. I'd be like, of course you go to the World Championship. There is no doubt. That's the reaction of a lot of you also. And yet I understand, I get it, because being in a position to decide whether or not you want to go to the World Champs is not a decision that comes around very often. And I did not, I mean, the possibility is always there, I never say never, but you know, the idea of qualifying was not something that entered my mind when I put myself forward to do the Ironman. And even the day of, all I wanted to do, I didn't even want to aim for a time. All I wanted to do was, I wanted to become an Ironman. And I did, and I am. And honestly, I have never been so proud of myself in my life. And I'm so sorry I'm getting upset and I'm crying about it, but let's just forget about the tears. I just wanna speak from the heart in this video. I'm super proud of what I achieved. And October the 1st, 2023, it's gonna take a lot for anything to come close to beating that day. It's almost a shame that I feel so emotional that I can't explain and describe how much it all meant to me, and I still can't put into words that day. It was everything that I had dreamt of and more. It was just an amazing day. And I understand that it would therefore make no sense why it would take me so long to decide whether or not to do the World Champs, given how much I loved that day. But going from a non-cyclist, non-swimmer, a sporadic runner was a lot of work. I think I showed, and I think you can all see from the training that I did share, that I really was consistent with it. I pretty much followed every training session down to the T. I did close to the best that I could have done. I won't say I did my absolute best, because there's always room for improvement, but I did very close to that. And the physical side of training for an Ironman was demanding, but definitely not as tough on my body as it was on my mind, and that is something that I really underestimated. I'm sure when you sign up to like an endurance race, your main worries are, is my body gonna be able to handle it? Of course, that was an unknown for me when I signed up, but I did not ever think that mentally it would take it out of me. With time, I obviously got used to it, but there were points where I can do the training, but I just can't do the thinking about the logistics of like when to run, when to swim, when to bike, and like when to move things around. It takes a toll on you. And that's not to say that I didn't have an incredible coach, because of course Andrew was the mastermind behind the training. I just followed what he said, but even still, you shouldn't underestimate what goes into getting those sessions ticked off. Endless amount of washes, having to set your Garmin to do the interval session, Swift, come off the turbo to cycle outside. Grant massively helped me with that. It was just a constant having to think. About to go to bed and I quickly check Training Peaks to see what does tomorrow entail? I feel like this is the perfect timing. I'm very pleased to mention that this video is in paid partnership with BetterHelp. I feel like we all focus a lot on our physical training, our gym sessions. Even me in this video, we're talking about the hours of training. It's almost just as important, if not more important, to look after your mental health, because that essentially is what allows you to then get through the physical challenges also in life. I've learned that keeping things bottled up really does not help. It doesn't. So if you're in a situation you feel like you need to talk to someone but you're unsure who or where to turn, then perhaps BetterHelp could be suited to you. I know that some people find it quite difficult to open up to people in person. You can choose whatever's the most comfortable version of therapy for you. You can message, you can talk on the phone. In order to get started, you essentially fill out a questionnaire to better understand your specific needs. In most cases, you'll be matched with a therapist within 48 hours. Then you're able to schedule a time that will be best suited for you, just around your personal life. And even if you're matched with a therapist that you don't necessarily click with or you don't think they're right for you, you can easily switch your therapist at no additional cost. Over 4 million people have used BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier life. So if you think that therapy may benefit you, then please do consider using BetterHelp. This is the website you need to visit, or click the link in the description box. Clicking that link will get you 10% off your first month. Thanks a lot to BetterHelp for this paid partnership, and I really do hope that it helps you out if you are in need of speaking to someone. Yeah. There's the mental side, and then something that I struggled with the most that I've not spoken very openly about. I don't want to go too deep into it because it's a delicate issue. It's sometimes so hard for me to talk about things on here because it's not that I don't want to share them, but it's just that I don't want to upset anyone. I wanted to talk about it to help anyone else. And also because it's so easy to see one side of things. When I posted the Iron Man video, I had so many lovely comments, and amongst those, many of you highlighted how amazing it was to have such supportive people around me. And every time I've read those comments, I'd agree. But in the back of my mind, I also felt deeply upset. What I learned is that you really need to surround yourself with the right people. The most important thing is that they're there for you and they support you and that they understand how much it truly means to you. And I think the last 4 months leading up to the Ironman were some of the hardest months, just because obviously the training volume increased, and then it just made it very difficult carrying this extra weight on my shoulders. Personally, like, no one would have seen this. Like, you wouldn't have seen this on camera. And that's why I want to tell you. It's hard to sometimes show the reality of everything going on in your life when you're the one that chooses to show whatever you choose. But a few months leading up to the Ironman, and even after, I was truly and utterly heartbroken throughout it. And the things that you got to discuss are just a bit deep. I'm gonna have to continue filming this video another day. By the way, this is Steph from the next morning, trying to help Steph from yesterday with this video because I was all over the shop. Just a heads up, it's gonna be a bit jumpy. I wanted to touch on a final, quite a big factor that I had to consider when choosing to do the World Champs or not, and that was the sacrifice and the impact that me doing World Champs would have on other people, particularly on Grant. I know that you guys see a lot of Grant in my videos, my training, the bike rides, because of course he did all the long bike rides with me. So obviously me putting myself forward for World Champs would mean another year of our weekends being impacted by my decision. At first, we were more so edging towards me not doing it because I didn't want to put Grant through it, but then Grant also changed his mind. His initial thoughts were not ones filled with excitement of me doing another year of triathlon training, but I would never have made this decision to do it if I didn't 100% get Grant's blessing, I guess, which isn't to say he's the boss of me or anything, nothing like that. It's just I wouldn't have felt comfortable doing it if he wasn't completely okay with me doing it. But I do also now know that we're no longer starting from zero. We started from zero last year. I put myself through so much mentally when it came to bike confidence and having to really push myself to go on bike rides that I feel like I owe it to myself to now grow as a cyclist, whereas like last year we barely scratched the surface. Well, this year, you know what I mean. And so that was another major factor that came into deciding. Long story short, I have decided that I'm gonna go and do the Nice World Championships. I actually think this is a new beast in itself. The main situation is the bike course. I'm okay at swimming, I'm decent at running, but when it comes to the bike, I'm bang on average, if not probably below average in terms of, not trying to put myself down, but in terms of, you know, ability, experience, I'm really bottom of the pack. So it's a huge jump to go from a regular Ironman to a world championship Ironman. This is not to say that I'm doing it in order to podium. Absolutely not, like not at all. Please get out of your head, because I will be competing against the best of the best. Trying to be up there is not the goal here. The goal here is to prove to myself that I can yet again do something that scares the shit out of me. By me putting myself forward to go to Nice, my focus is really gonna be on hills, my bike handling, descents, going right down and climbing. All these things are things I'm not very good at whatsoever. Basically tackling my weakest discipline. I don't even have the stats to tell you elevation, but let me use trusty Google to see the difference between Ironman Barcelona elevation and Nice elevation. The descents is also another massive thing. Like, you'd think that, you know, going downhill easy, but it's technically, it's petrifying. Very scared, but I'm gonna do it. I'm not doing this to beat my time in Barcelona, because honestly, I'm not even sure if that will be possible given how much harder the bike course is in Nice. And I'm also not saying I'm not going to improve as a cyclist, of course, like that's the whole point. But in terms of numbers, by me just getting myself ready to take on Nice, that will mean I will start that race as a much more well-rounded triathlete than I am right now. When I did finish Barcelona and I did look at stats, it was very obvious and clear to me that my cycling is way below. You all know how much of a grind it was for me to even get to cycling. I can still count on one hand the bike rides I did outside on my own. That was my starting point for Barcelona, which won't be the case for World Champs. I now know so much more than I did when I first signed up to the Ironman. I didn't even know the distances of the triathlon. I didn't even know what transitions were. I didn't even know what T1 and T2 was. I truly was the beginner, but I now have a whole year's worth of experience and learning, training and feeling things. All these things will no longer be new to me. It's gonna be really tough, but I'm also feeling very excited for it. Training won't yet begin, but I just wanted to get it out there that I had finally made up my mind, and I hadn't been trying to hold this back from you all because I just didn't know the right thing to do. I just know that this time around, one of the biggest weight that I had on my shoulders, I no longer have, because I had to make decisions that have really weighed on me. It was a friendship group. We're talking friends that I have known since nursery. It took out so much mental and physical emotion in me. I must have even been dehydrated on some of my runs and bike rides, because the amount of tears that I cried, it's not to say that it was a very easy decision for me to make. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make, but I knew that I had to do it for myself, for my sanity, for my heart. And although it's a really sad realization to come to, the day I qualified for the World Champs, and I had already in my mind and my heart made up the decision that I needed to do something about this. That being, I needed to cut certain people out of my life. The first thing that I thought of was that this time round, I'd no longer have all that weight on me and strain, which is such a mad thing to say, but just from that, you can somewhat understand the weight that whole situation and the toll that it took on me over the past few months. It's mad how friendship breakups can be just as painful, if not more painful than, breaking up with a partner. Another thing that I'll say is that although there was so much pain caused, and it wasn't an over-exaggeration when I said I've truly been heartbroken by all of this, I wanted to end it in a way where it wasn't bitter, and it wasn't in a way that I was made to feel for these months. But in the same way, I knew that I had to kind of let go. If anyone is in a similar situation when it comes to friendships, because it's really delicate, because they're the people that you speak to about things that are going on, but it's very hard when they're the ones that are causing all the pain. The best thing you can do is to remove yourself from that situation, but not in a bitter way. You should do it with love, and you should do it with forgiveness, and you should do it with complete honesty, and that way you can't go wrong. That was actually something that my masseuse told me. Gosh, that makes me sound really posh. But honestly, I would see her more so to chat than actually to get a full body massage. It was really helpful. That's why I would encourage anyone watching this video that's going through something to talk to someone, to reach out. I know I'm talking a lot about the bike being a new challenge. I also want to highlight that when I did my very first Ironman and the time leading up to it, I never knew how I would feel doing that race, whether, I'd finish it and say, never do I ever want to do that again. That never happened. I loved it from the very start to the very end. And so I even knew on October the 1st that I was not completely done with triathlon. I didn't know what the future held, but I just knew I wasn't completely done with it. I know that I've spoken quite a bit about the struggles that I've had in this video, but at the same time, I think it's also very clear that you can see how rewarding I've found the whole experience. I'm also not forgetting how much enjoyment and purpose it gave me training for something like this. The DMs that I get on a daily basis, people signing up to marathons, 70.3s, Ironmans, ultra marathons, all of that does not go unnoticed, and it somewhat gives me a bigger purpose to doing these things. I've always been someone that's intrinsically motivated to do things, to do my best. It's never about being better than someone else or beating someone else's time, or it's never about that for me. It's always about doing the best that I can with whatever it is. And on October the 1st, I do feel like there was more to give. I'm of course extremely happy with how it went. In fact, I was over the moon, could not have expected any of that. Getting 11 hours 45. The 11-hour bracket or 12-hour bracket hadn't even crossed my mind. So, of course I'm happy, but I'm the only one that was in my body and felt how I felt at that finish. And the one thing that I couldn't help feeling was there was more left in me. And that is more than enough for me to want to do another one, honestly. Doing Nice just put a whole new spanner in the works. And trust me, I've even thought, maybe I don't do World Champs, maybe I'll just do another Ironman, and then the focus doesn't necessarily have to be on climbing. But then on the other hand, it's like, do you really want to take the easy option? Like, the easy option, although it doesn't seem it, the easy option would be me turning down World Champs and just doing another easier Ironman. But it goes against what I stand for. By taking the easy route, I'll never be able to really see what I would truly do in Nice if I didn't go for it. And I don't think I could live with the what if. I just don't think I could. To sum it all up, I'm doing the World Champs and I am gonna take you all along on this journey to the Ironman World Champs 2024. It's so bonkers me even saying that. What on earth? We went from 0 to Ironman. We can go from first time Ironmaner to Ironman World Champ qualifier participator. It's almost like deja vu. The only thing stopping me and in the way of this would be myself and fear holding me back. So I'm gonna feel the fear and I'm gonna do it anyway. And in me doing so, I hope it inspires you to go for something that you too feel a little out of your depth, because we all feel that way. No one that's ever achieved something big, impactful, fulfilling has done it without discomfort and without sacrifice and without fear. Because there's always that thing of, you know, what if it doesn't work out? What if you can't finish it? What if you don't make it? There's always that element, but that's the thing that excites me. This time around, I'm gonna really try and embrace every minute of it. I kind of know what's coming, and that's both daunting but exciting at the same time. And I'm just gonna try my best to maybe share as much as I can this time round. Perhaps I'll set up a, you know, on Instagram there's those Instagram broadcast channels. Like perhaps I set up a broadcast channel and I can share day-to-day feelings, training sessions, etc. That could be an idea. Let me know what you think. That is it. I'm done jibber jabbering. Thank you so much for being there for me. Perhaps you can now see with the things that I've spoken about in this video how thankful I am for having the support from my Nutty Nationers. Because it always sounds cliche when people say, I'm so grateful for the support, but I truly am. Truly. We went through some hard shit and you were all there for me throughout, so much appreciate it. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far in the video, please comment. Anything is possible. And stay nutty, my friends. I lost my train of thought. Where were we now? I lost my train of thought.